it took me just a few seconds, right? All right, I am on Instagram Live here, and we are going to talk about how to motivate someone. Yeah, we are going to talk about how to motivate. Can you actually ask a broader question to someone who is a coach like me, right? And it seems like, that's the most simplest question. And motivating someone is definitely part of the whole coaching. But as I always say, it's only really one part, right? Because we often get motivated for something on a short notice. So let's say you feel that you want to exercise. So then you maybe buy your new exercise gear and all that kind of stuff. You're really motivated, and the next day you start to run, and maybe the next day you start to run as well. So to motivate someone is different than actually keep going at it. And so some people ask, how do you stay then motivated? That's maybe a little bit a relevant question as well. So we'll address both of them so that you have kind of a complete circle. Actually, this question came from literally to me from someone saying, "Hey, how do you motivate someone to stay on a healthy diet or a healthy nutrition?" Now, to motivate someone, you could just say, "Hey, come on, you can do it," right? Stuff like that. And if you do that long enough and you ask someone to repeat it after you, right? "Yeah, I can do it, I can do it." I can guarantee you, you pump someone up, that in that moment, they get very motivated. But this is actually the basic principle of in general mental coaching, right? If you see motivation as, now, I'm not a big proponent, I'm sorry, Red Bull, for drinking power drinks like Red Bull, but a cup of coffee would be the same thing, right? If you it gives you a boost, right? Anything, those 5-hour energy drinks, it gives you a boost, and that's like a motivational talk. So it gives you a boost, but it doesn't last long, right? It doesn't last long. So maybe a Red Bull, or I don't drink those power drinks, maybe stay with you for maybe a few hours or a few minutes. If you in the past, I don't think they do it anymore. I don't know if you remember those old Mars bars, like these candy bars, and those were one of the first candy bars that were really popular around the world. And as a kid, I loved them. And then right after my practice, and I always thought, on Saturday I was practicing soccer. I was really bad at it, by the way, but that's that's another thing. So on Saturday morning, I had to practice outside, and then we had a game the next day. But every time when I succeeded to finish the practice, uh, I promised myself to have one of those Mars bars, and those Mars bars could give you energy, which was not so difficult because it's like almost like 100% sugar. But so there was like kind of a double whammy in there. So I didn't like soccer, to be honest. Specifically, I grew up in the Netherlands. Most of the time it was rainy or cold or both at the same time, and I kind of don't like that. So to promise myself something at the end of my accomplishment, right, that was kind of my own personal motivation. And that's maybe, I didn't even realize that there was going into motivational coaching of myself, and it worked because we didn't get too much candy during the day, during the week at home at all, and we had a small allowance, and that's what we did. So we bought a small Mars bar with friends. Sometimes we split it. I loved it. I loved Mars and Milky Ways, by the way. But that's not that, by the way. To go from here to a healthy diet is maybe not so good of a way to go into that. But that was my motivation, right? So giving yourself a small award, that could be a motivation, right? Then you could have stronger motivational things. Is, if you have a certain goal in your life, right? That is typically always a stronger motivation to go into. So if you don't have a long-term goal, then typically it's really hard to stick to something. And I'm not making it irrational, right? I'm not making it irrational. So in the past, I used to say, I can talk you out of anything, out of being eating too much, out of smoking, at all in, give me 10, 15 minutes, sometimes in 5 minutes, sometimes only in 2 minutes. And there was this one example that I had where I was doing these motivational talks, and someone challenged me on that and say, I have been hugely obese, and I said, okay, do you have any other physical problems, which in itself could cause a lot of physical problems, by the way. He said, no. She said, no, actually, I'm only, I have too much overweight. I said, no, that it's not an easy thing to deal with. I'm not want to, diminish that. But I said, and she said, I heard about you that you can talk me out of this lifestyle in a few minutes. And do you want to take me up on the challenge? She said, yeah, absolutely, I do. So I asked her to come forward, and it was, a small audience was there, and so they were all curious. And I asked her, so what is your most precious possession? I asked her. I said, well, my most precious possession is my daughter. I have a small daughter. And I said, okay, can she walk already? And she said, no, she's just small, but probably in half a year, she probably would kind of start to crawl and walk and stuff like that. I said, okay, that's so cool, congratulations, right? She said, but that's part of the problem. I already had too much weight, but then definitely during the pregnancy and after the pregnancy, I am so overweight that I don't know what to do. And I must say, also have a sweet tooth, and so on and so on. I said, okay. So think about this. How easy do you think it is to change your diet? He said, no, actually, I tried that, but then I found myself, binge watching in the weekend or in the evening. I said, okay. So are you motivated to get rid of your extra weight? I said, yeah. Otherwise, I would not be here. She got already a little bit agitated with me, and that's what I wanted to do. So I kept asking these kind of obvious questions, right? Are there any favorite clothes that you don't fit in anymore? I said, yeah. Didn't I not tell you? Can you not see that I'm overrated? And she got more and more agitated with me. And at some point in time, she almost said, I thought you were a motivational coach. So we were only like 2 minutes in that process. What I tried to do, I'm just explaining you the process, right? But when you get someone in what we call an emotional state, right? When you move someone in emotion, it's very easy to keep them moving, right? If you keep someone in emotion, it's easy to keep them into motion. Yeah, let me repeat that again. If you get someone into emotion, then it's very easy to keep them in motion. So I just wanted to provoke an emotional state. That could be a happy state, could be a sad state, but I wanted to have some sort of an agitated state. So at some point in time, I said, hey, can you imagine for a moment, and she was a little bit taken aback by that, when you are playing outside with your kid. And, you're on a nice field and stuff like that, and your kids wander off a little bit, but that's fine, right? Because you can nice open fields. Can you imagine that? I said, yeah, I can imagine that. And I said, and then at some point in time, you see a kid running away, and you didn't see that there was actually a pond there that she could kind of fall into. And as you know, your kid is very young, so she obviously cannot swim. You see that, what do you do? How do you feel? She said, I would be getting a panic. I said, and you have only a few seconds to get there. With the way you are looking right now and the weight that you have right now, would you be able to, to rescue your kid? And she got so angry at me. She said, no, don't you see I'm too overrated and I have no stamina and there's no way I can get my kid and run like that. And so she almost wanted to yell at me. And then at some point in time, she said, I got it. She said, I got it. I said, and so this is it. I said, this picture that I put in your head is so strong. Can you please, when you do your binge watching again, can you remember can you remember this picture? And she said, yes, I now can. I have some Dutch friends coming online as well. Hey, Mario, if you can hear me, just wave to me. That would be just really cool. And and that's how I helped that woman actually to get the mindset a little bit stronger than just motivation to do it. And it implemented, a stronger way for her to stick to it. Now, I'm not saying these things are easy. I'm just saying, hey, that is what motivation is about. So first of all, you can talk about the reason why, and that could motivate you in a small time. You can give someone a pep talk, right? That is, you like your Red Bull or your other energy drink or a cup of coffee. It gives you a short boost, so then you are motivated. But more importantly than just only the motivation is the constant motivation that you have during the whole process. Excuse me. Because maybe I need to take a sip of my tea. Because losing weight is a long process, right? But you don't do that in a few days even, so you need to stick to it. So getting a strong impression of why you do it is often a really good trick, but it's a little bit more than a trick to stay at it, right? So then you come to the last point that I want to talk to you about. If I ask you, what do you think motivates more, pleasure or pain? What do you think motivates more? I'm really sorry about that, guys. Uh, Now, apparently, that was, right into what I was talking about. Uh, Pain motivates way more than pleasure. So if I did not have this little itch in my throat, I would probably, would be okay. But I really want to get rid of it, so I have to drink some tea. So this is my little pause in my motivational talk. I'm really sorry, guys. So, what motivates more, pleasure or pain? If you know the answer, just let me know. But I already give it away. Pain by far gives you more motivation than pleasure. So, to avoid pain is one of the strongest motivational factors. I'm not saying it's always good to do that, but often we help to do that, right? You see it in sports all the time. It's good to push people up and to let them feel how it is to win. At some point in time, when you're done with coaching, that's actually a strong motivation. But in the beginning, people want to avoid being last on a list or something. That's already kind of a good motivation, right? If you say, hey, what's the pain to not win a competition, that might be a really hard one. But if you say, hey, you can avoid the pain to be last, that's probably already a good one. Now, what I did in this example with that woman is I gave her already the possible pain that she could have for not being able to rescue her child. I'm really sorry, guys. I have a little itch in my throat, and I seem not be able to get rid of it. All right. Okay, so you can see this is live on Instagram. I'm almost dying here. There's no one around me that seems to care about me so much to rescue me with a glass of water. So this might be my last Instagram live about motivational. And this is Jean, the motivational coach, as you can speak. So maybe it's more like a comical talk today at Instagram live. But my surrounding really doesn't care that I am just almost joking here. I'm just talking to someone in my house, hopefully that they bring me a glass of water. Anyhow, so that was the question. So how do you motivate someone? A very broad question, but it's actually not so uncommon that I get questions like that, because that is often how do you do anything, like that. So we went through from pain and pleasure. I have to get my bearings together, to the last point of keeping someone motivated. If you keep doing something for, some people say 30 days, other people say 60 days, other people say 100 days. So what I say, if you do something for, I take 60 days. If you do something consistently for 60 days, right? So if you are able to avoid binge eating for 60 days in a row, you probably have created a new positive habit, right? In this case, actually, you shook a negative habit. And, taking out a negative habit is typically a little bit more difficult. than picking up a good habit, but you can use those 60 days. So same thing with people smoking. If you succeed to have your 60 days without smoking, typically it becomes a lot easier after that. So 60 is a magical day. For some things, maybe smoking is one of them. 100 days. Now, talking about 100 days, we have a new president in the United States. You probably, no matter where you are, if you are just a little bit living on this planet, then you probably couldn't have avoided. But if you notice that with the president, when he got inaugurated, that was last Wednesday. I hope you all saw it. Typically in the U.S., we start to measure the new president 100 days. So that's the 100 days is coming back, right? So the first 100 days of the president, in his first year, we always measure what he can achieve. So we'll follow that here in the United States, first 100 days. So it's maybe a good thing to remember how these things work, right? So I said 60 days about the average to adopt a new habit. Want to shake a negative habit, maybe 100 days on your calendar is a better one. Stop smoking, stop binge eating, stuff like that. Maybe binge watching. You have to be deadly honest to yourself, right? Specifically if it comes to the last things, right? If it comes to eating, like, I don't eat so much candy. You have to be super, super honest to yourself. There's no one actually who can do that. I mean, there's no one that can be next to you and stay and watch over you when you go to the box of chocolates or other things. You have to be honest to you. And this is the thing. If you want to stop eating unhealthy, so say that you have a problem with stopping binge eating, then these 60 days work like this. So you go well for 30 days. You think, oh, halfway, really cool, right? When you start eating a little candy, I have candy here for my throat, then and you take some chocolate, it starts all over again, right? I'm not saying you can never eat chocolate again. It is just, securing those first 60 days with any habit that you do. So if you decide to do more exercise and you say, hey, I want to do that for 4 times a week, every week do it 4 times. If there's one time week that you did it 3 times, it starts all over again. Do you see how that works, right? So anyhow, there was a lot of struggle to start this live Instagram live. Then in the middle, I almost choked on something, or at least got a cough. And so anyhow, I hope this was a little bit to your pleasure as well. But I went through a few things, right? Motivation to start something, typically not that hard, right? But I taught you a little bit the process. If you get someone into emotion, it's very easy to keep them into motion. If you just want to push someone into motion, that doesn't work so much. That's what I did. Remember the lady who had overweight, and I put them in an emotional state, and that's how I kept her a little bit stronger into motion, right? And then you need to keep going with what you want to achieve. Typically, you want to have a long-term goal. And a long-term goal, if you can connect it to avoiding pain, works a little bit better than gaining pleasure. Now, both are good motivators, but that's the one is just a little bit stronger than the other. And then last but not least, so that is your 3 steps how to motivate someone into do about anything, is if you keep your new habit up for at least 60 days. If you want to shake some bad habits, I say 100 days, then you have a good chance that you will succeed in whatever you want to succeed. Does that make any sense? Right? So this was Shah with from the podcast. It is Thrive, Not Survive After Abuse. But here on Instagram Live, I do it every Saturday at 10 o'clock, right, Dallas time. That is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the Netherlands. I'm just saying that because I always have people from the Netherlands listening to me, and the rest of Europe, of course. I wish you all a good weekend. I'm going to get off to my dance lessons in a few hours or so. Well, but I have to leave about now. And then I'll see to you. Bye-bye.